Good morning folks, Ken Ring of www.predictweather.com. It's the 29th of April, the day of the full moon. The day a lot of people go a bit silly sometimes because their energies rise into their head and their brain gets full of water or something. But it's not just the full moon period that makes people go silly. I was just reading today, I don't know if you can see that little article there, that says that an Iranian cleric is preaching that cleavage causes earthquakes. Have you ever heard anything so daft in all your life? Here's another little piece of silliness. Stay married and save the planet. Apparently if you stay married you can change the climate. Isn't that silly? Just like the emissions trading scheme, folks. If you go to the NIWA website, you will see that the world has warmed by 1 degree over the last 8,000 years. They have a graph up to show that. The NIWA study also says that the sea has risen by 1 millimetre a year. That's the rate of it, which means about that much in a century. And everybody is panicking over that. We have to pay a tax over that. We have to stop breathing and belching and all the rest of it. The farm animals are coming under scrutiny. The poor farmers are going to be hit the hardest for having belching cows. Cows have been belching for millions of years. The planet is still here. What is wrong with people? Why are people so silly? We have less animals now than ever before. That's why we have the notion of endangered species. How did the planet cope when all of Africa were full of game animals, when America was full of bison, when Canada was full of caribou, when New Zealand was full of birds? If you want to see a methane factory, walk behind one duck for 10 minutes, or one goat for that matter. So what about all the animals? What about all the humans that are belching? Nobody is saying that humans belching is wrecking the planet. What about all the heat that's coming from the cigarette smoke? There are more people who smoke than who drive cars in the world. Nobody has said a thing about that. So what's it all about? It's all about money. It's all about taxes. And the sooner the rest of us get to realise that, then the sooner we can vote out the politicians who are trying to drive us mad, keep us poor by imposing taxes on us, left, right and centre, in the name of nothing except their own reputations when it comes to trading overseas. So it's just a money trail, folks. And I suggest anybody who does believe that the climate is changing or that the planet is warming needs to do a bit of reading of another sort. Just Google glaciers advancing and you'll find there's heaps and heaps of study being done about that. Or ocean level decreasing, and or Arctic expanding, Antarctica expanding, because they are. It's just that these don't get to the newspapers. Anyway, changing the subject, what's happening with the moon? Well, the moon is in Scorpio and it's full moon today, and as you can see in the model here, the moon is exactly opposite the sun, and the moon's always the highest point in the sky on my model. That's how it's going to look just round about midnight tonight. And that's the thing about the full moon. Exactly at midnight it is sitting at due north in the southern hemisphere, and it's sitting at due south in the northern hemisphere. And in fact the word south comes from the word sun, soldat, French for sun, which meant that thing in the south. So that's where those words came from. But of course down here our sun is in the north. But the full moon is always sitting at midnight due north or south, whichever hemisphere you're in. And for that reason the full moon used to be used as a direction guide for night travellers. So you can see why. The moon sets about 7:30 this morning, and it's out of the sky all day, and it will rise again around 5 p.m. It's rising at about 18 degrees south at the moment, so that's the angle when it's here, 18 degrees south in terms of latitude, and it will reach its southernmost point, the highest it gets in the sky on Sunday, when it will be rising a little further to the south, and it'll be at 25 degrees, and that's the highest it gets at this particular time in this cycle. Actually, it goes to 28, nearly 29 degrees every 18 years, and it sort of slips back. I'm talking about how far south it ever gets. So it's more or less around halfway, if you like, at the moment in terms of that. May is coming up, of course, and I said yesterday that I'd be giving you some hints about what May has in store for us. Well, May could be unusually cold, mainly around the beginning and the end, and it may bring hail and early snows to both islands, but the coldest times, I think, will be the first and the last weeks, because that's when the moon will be in the southern declination. It'll be in the southern hemisphere, and it'll be over our heads, but it will be bringing the colder winds down here around the beginning and the end of the month, which means that the middle of this month, which means that the middle of the month will be warmer. But there could be enough May cold to burn kiwi fruit vines, and there could be some hail and snow damage to some kiwi fruit orchards, and I'm expecting snow around the 4th and the 19th to the 22nd, the 24th to the 26th, and the 28th to the 31st. So that's what I'm expecting for May. So the beginning and the end should bring snow. Anyway, I'll tell you more about May coming up in the next couple of days.